feature of parametric primitives that's very useful sometimes is you can apply what's called a fillet, which gives a more of an appearance of a realistic rounded edge. So if I'm going to make a cube, the edge in this three-dimensional space is literally 90 degrees, and it's both surfaces meet on an idealized edge. And in real life, like for example the edge of a table or edge of a desk, we all know that there's no such thing as this severe perfect 90 degree edge here. The way to round that edge is with the object enabled. Go into the attribute manager. Under object, there's a parameter there called fillet. I'm going to enable fillet. I'll back up the camera so you can see what's going on. So with fillet enabled, that's what happens. If I turn on the segments or the lines, so I'm going to guru shading lines, it's easier to see. Over here, back in the attribute manager, if I decrease fillet subdivisions, which I'll back up and do that, so I'm just going to decrease the subdivisions. There's fillet subdivision is set at 1 now. Let me go back to the default 5. I can increase the subdivisions, to give it an even more smooth edge. However, remember, every time I do that, I'm making more polygons that the computer has to calculate and look at. So let me set it back down to the default of 5. Fillet radius, if I decrease it, the fillet radius gets closer and closer to the severe 90 degree. So what's really cool is, let me turn off lines again. I'm going to go to guru shading, just normal. So I could change the fillet radius to, like, for example, 0.5. That will give just a small little fillet, just a hint of a very small roundness of the edge, which is more realistic. So I could make this, if I was going to make like a realistic table, for example, out of this object, I would apply a really small fillet, like 0.5 centimeters or less, and then I could make this object editable, So that's really cool. That's a nice little feature there. Let me delete the cube and then mention something about the cylinder. Cylinder too, you can apply a fillet to it. However, it's over in the attribute manager. Usually when you bring in a cylinder, it'll usually default to the object tab. In the attribute manager, just hit the cabs tab, enable fillet, and this is the kind of shape you'll get. And it's the same thing. You can adjust the radius and segments of the cylinder, and if you needed like a soft shape like this for whatever reason, that's the way to go. You wouldn't have to use a subdivision surface or anything. You can just make this soft cylinder, or like this pillow shape, with just by simply adjusting the fillets on the cylinder.